Today we're taking a first look at Gigantic. For those of you who are here for Smite, don't you worry, it's coming back tomorrow. For those of you who are here for the first time, a little bit of background on my experience with MOBAs. I've been playing MOBAs ever since Dota 1, played League of Legends for an extended period of time, and am currently playing a lot of Smite. So I feel like I have a bit of understanding of the genre, and as such I felt like I wanted to touch on Gigantic as well. Now, Gigantic, when it comes to MOBAs, stands out a fair bit. It takes the name of the genre quite literally, Multiplayer Online Battle Arena, because it's much more of an arena game than the other games are for the most part. It is played from the third-person perspective, so the ones it comes closest to in terms of how it looks are Smite and Paragon, but at the same time it's very, very different, especially because of the art style. Playstyle-wise, there's not really any of the games that it could be compared to. Obviously, it's a little closer to Smite and Paragon than to the others, but it doesn't even match Smite's arena game at all. It's somewhat in between. It focuses very much on the action part. It has completely removed minions as such from the game, and that makes for a very unique gameplay experience. The game is developed by Motiga and is gonna get published by Perfect World Entertainment, though Microsoft had their hands in that stuff as well somehow, especially because the thing's coming out on Xbox One as well, and you can actually play between PC and Xbox, so it's a cross-platform game. The only other MOBA that currently offers that is Paragon with the PlayStation 4. Now, as this is a first look video, we're gonna talk about the positive sides, the negative sides, and the things that could just easily be improved upon, in my opinion. Obviously, this is from my very first experience with the game, so the gameplay you will be seeing here will be far from good, simply because I completely forget to level up abilities sometimes, I completely lose track of what's happening, and stuff like that, so don't expect any high level of play here or anything like that. With that, let's jump into the pros first. Gigantic's pacing is extremely fast. There is almost no downtime in the game. We're not doing anything. You're either running from A to B, or you're checking out your abilities in between, or you're doing something else. There are no breaks. There is no farming. There is nothing like that. And it makes the game really, really fun. I understand that this is not necessarily for everyone, because really there's not much time to take a break in a match, but at the same time it is so much fun if you're willing to give into it. The speed of the game overall is just great. In the same sense, the combat system is insanely fun. Throwing out your abilities feels so smooth, the animations are really nice, and you get those damage numbers popping up, and you are at the next place already and jumping around and chasing people down, stuff like that. It's really, really cool. No character that I've played so far felt much slower than the others either. Obviously, there are some that are really, really fast, but still, even the tanks kind of have their own mobility and stuff to get around the map, which feels really, really nice. And that together just makes for a really smooth experience, a really fluid gameplay, much, much faster than any other MOBA I've played, actually. The graphics and animation are obviously somewhat up to taste, you know. There are people who will not like the style, the cel shading all that much. I personally enjoy it very, very much. I like the very colorful atmosphere of the game and all that. And I think the game is very well optimized already as well. It runs really smooth on really high settings for me. It is apparently locked to 60 FPS for now at least, due to some performance reasons, but that works really, really well for the game and how it plays, even on a crappy computer like mine. The interface itself is also really good. It's really self-explanatory. Everything is kind of in your field of vision, which is really nice. I really like the health HUD, which I've pointed out before, which I really like in general, also back in World of Warcraft already. That makes the whole experience while fighting better, because you can see everything very well. Though I would say the health bars and mana or stamina bars could even be closer to the character just a little bit, just so you don't lose track of it, because there is so much happening in a fight. There is also pretty much no lag. I did not experience any singular instance of lag for myself. I saw another player lagging, but my crappy PC handled the performance of the game just fine. So not only graphics wise, but in every other regard as well. So that feels really smooth and allows you to play exactly the speed that you'd like to play and not have to wait for abilities to be delayed and stuff like that. Also, gameplay wise, the map changes in long games, so the map kind of collapses at a certain point, becomes much smaller, and the whole gameplay experience really changes at that moment again. It becomes a lot more fast-paced, and it's all of a sudden a really different game while also being the same game. Really hard to explain. I think it's something you have to try it for yourself to really see it, but that also feels really cool. The variety of the characters is really nice as well. I haven't played too many yet, but they all feel unique in their own ways, and I really like that. There are obviously some counter mechanics, and I think certain picks will be able to counter others out very well. And that makes it fun. That makes it interesting to try out different compositions. There's also a really interesting pick system where you can basically pick the characters that you want to play before the match already, and then it chooses from those, but you can still switch if you want to. So you're gonna get matched with other players and have a decent composition already where no one's trying to play the same character that you are. Also a nice benefit. So when it comes to the positive sides of the game, the in-game experience, the gameplay itself really stands out. I have not had so much fun in the actual combat of a game in a long time. I feel like it brings me back a little bit to old fighter games, but also old RPG games that had this kind of hack and slash style to them. It's something that you can hardly describe because I don't think any game has done it in a similar fashion so far. It basically is the speed of your typical action shooter, whatever, Overwatch, Paladins, you name it. At the same time having all these mobile elements and that kind of ability, so more of the roleplay, story-focused kind of side of things, how they usually have their combat systems with like a lot of hits landing on the enemy in a very short frame of time and stuff. Try it out in that regard. Just try it out. I cannot fully explain it. It's great. But there are obviously downsides as well. And there are maybe reasons why you wouldn't want to try it out, at least not at the moment. And that's what we're talking about right now. There is a huge issue with getting into games. And when I say huge issue, I am not exaggerating at all. Today, I tried to get into a game. It was the third game I wanted to get into, and it actually took me 10 tries. It took me over half an hour to get into a game. And this is not because games weren't found. This is because people were not loading in. So we got the game, everyone entered, you have like 1 minute to lock your character, we did that stuff, and you always search for a game for a while, obviously, as well. And then, when that's all done, you will be placed in the loading screen for the game where you wait until everyone has loaded the game itself. And in that moment, some people just didn't load in every single game. And when somebody doesn't load in, the game gets cancelled. I think that's generally a good concept, but it's kind of problematic when there's somebody not loading in every single game. Apparently, there's also no punishment for the people not loading in, so you can expect them to just try again in the next game, and then you will be stuck with them again and you won't get into the game again. So that is ultra frustrating. And in the same sense, disconnects seem to be very, very frequent. I don't think I finished a game so far with every player and every team still being there. So there has to be some kind of prevention mechanic for that. I know there's a technical side to that where there's just difficulties with the Xbox still, so that's a problem. Crossplay obviously making this harder. At the same time, there are also issues with just not punishing the people for leaving the game and stuff like that yet, because obviously it's still in beta and they want to have as many players as possible for now. So it's a bit awkward, I would say, but well, that's a big part of the reason why I would say maybe don't test it yet, because I feel like this is something that will definitely be fixed somehow down the road. But at the moment, it just can't be fixed that easily. So maybe in like 2 months from now, that will already feel a lot better and makes more sense to play it then. Because right now, I feel like the most logical way is to just queue with 5 people and hope for a pre-made enemy team. At the same time, there are also other issues when it comes to language settings, because you're forced to use your system's language. I had to switch my system language to English in order to play the game in English. There was no in-game setting for that and no installation setting. And that's really annoying, because I don't want to play any game in German. I'm sorry, but I don't. And there's an issue that's more specific to streamers, which is obviously, the others are problematic for streamers as well, because, you know, no one likes to watch a game where people just queue for half an hour. But you cannot really stream the game properly as a game. It doesn't get recognized as a game because of the way it's set up with Microsoft and stuff like that. It doesn't get recognized as a full screen application. So if you stream it, you basically run the risk of people seeing everything in the background if you tap out once. Not really the way you'd want it as a streamer. So overall, these are multiple factors that contribute to the game probably not being very popular in terms of streams at the moment at all. And I would like to see that change, because I think streams are great promotion for a cool game like that, which is really fun to look at as well and looks really nice, really fast and all that stuff. But you can't really have that when people spend the majority of the time not actually seeing the game itself. The last downside for me is the Founders Pack. So the Founders Pack is a concept that many games have that are free to play. You are able to get the game and get some special skins and stuff like that, and you pay a little bit for it. In this case, you pay $40, you get 20 characters, you get 2 skins, 2 icons, and apparently some weapon skins, and that's it. I may be spoiled here from Hi-Rez, where you get every character that comes out ever for free afterwards, but I feel like that's pretty expensive for what you get in return, to be honest. Those are the negative sides, but I feel like there's some things that I don't really consider negative necessarily, but I would just point out as possible improvements. One, I would like to be able to do something in the loading screens. It would be nice to be able to look at skins, consider buying them, and maybe then buy them if you want to while just waiting for the others to log in. Maybe have your abilities on the right side so you can look at that again and check that up and the upgrades and stuff like that. Just anything to do because you're literally just looking at the character and there's nothing around. Also, I would like to have an overview of all abilities when I press Control. At the moment you only get an overview of the ability, you hover over, and that's, in my opinion, especially for beginners, not enough. It would be nice to just on the right side have a list of all the abilities and what they can do. And that brings us to the summary. I think Gigantic is a fantastic game. It is maybe not quite the normal MOBA that you'd expect. It is free to play, so that's always a nice plus in that regard as well. It has its flaws, and most of them come down to matchmaking, so I'm really hoping that that's something that gets focused on for now, just making sure that people get into games and people don't disconnect from games that easily without punishment. And if that's happening, then I will probably play this game a lot more because I feel like it's ultra fun to play. And I really like the pace of the game and all around it. It's also really easy to get into because everything is explained quite well for you. There are good tutorial videos and stuff like that that will give you a good overview of what's happening. So I really recommend just testing it out, getting a feel for it, and see if you like it or not. With that, thank you guys for watching. I hope this was insightful. I will see you for the next video tomorrow. Also, a quick reminder to those of you who are subbed to me on Twitch with Twitch Prime, your sub may have run out, and if you want to have that 2-month subscriber badge, or 3-month rather, then make sure to resub. Duke Sloth, out.